Hey everybody, this is Mike Wachtel, and this is a story about Little Joe. This is Little Joe. Little Joe's going to go on a journey. Pay attention. Got this one with you. Little Joe goes looking for his best friend Jim. He takes off and he walks 1 block. He walks 2 blocks. He walks 3 blocks. Little Joe comes back. Found Jim. This is Jim. And this is his 3 buddies. Jim looks at Little Joe and says, "Hey, Little Joe," he says, "you think you can find me and my buddies some dates tonight?" He says, "Man, I can find you some dates. I'll be right back." He takes off. Cut those for me, please. Little Joe takes off. He walks 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. Little Joe comes back. He says, "Man, you'll never believe it." He says, "I found you 4 dates." He said, "Little Joe, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it. Here's a $2 tip." He said, "Man, thanks. I can always use the money." He said, "Well, speaking of that," he says, "you think you can find us some drinks?" He said, "Yeah, I'll find you some drinks." He said, "My next door neighbor's a bartender. Let me go see what I can find out." So Little Joe takes off. He starts walking towards his house. He walks 1 block. He walks 2 blocks. 3 blocks, and he comes back. He says, "Well, did you find us some drinks?" He said, "Man, I got you 4 bottles of Jack." He said, "Little Joe, that's awesome, buddy." He said, "Here's a $2 tip." He said, "Man," he says, "thanks for the money, guys. I can use it." He says, "Little Joe," he says, "you got his dates, you got his drinks." He says, "Man, we need some music. You got any music?" He said, "Man, my other neighbor plays in the band." He said, "Let me see if they're home. I'll be right back." He takes off walking. So Little Joe takes off. He walks 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. He comes back. He says, "Man, were they home?" He says, "Yeah, bud." He said, "You ever heard of the group the 4 Aces?" He says, "They're awesome." He said, "Little Joe, thanks for the music, buddy." He said, "Here's a $2 tip." He said, "Guys," he says, "I got to get ready to go. Is there anything else I can do for you before I leave?" He says, "Little Joe," he says, "we might play some cards later." He says, "No, I got some tips." He said, "Do you think you can get me some change?" He said, "I'll get you some change." He takes off walking. So Little Joe walks 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. He comes back. He says, "Well, what kind of change you get me?" He said, "Man, I got you 4 10s and 2 5s. That's all I can do." He said, "Little Joe, thanks a lot." He said, "Here's a $2 tip." He said, "By the way," he says, "where'd you get all that change this late at night?" He said, "Man, I got it down at the 21 Club." He said, "Little Joe," he says, "that's all the way downtown." He said, "Well, it's just 3 blocks. He said, "It ain't that big a deal." He said, "Little Joe," he said, "where do you live at?" He said, 48th Street. He said, "Man, you got any kids?" He said, 7, 4 boys, 3 girls. He said, "Man, that's awesome." He said, "How old are you, Little Joe?" He said, "I'm 46. He said, "No kidding." He said, "You don't look a day over 35. He said, "My God, man." He said, "That's awesome." He said, "You ever play cards?" He said, "All the time down at the 21 Club." He said, "What's the best hand you ever had?" Get ready for this, guys. He said, "I had 4 9s with a tray kicker." He said, "Little Joe, how much money did you win?" He said, "I didn't win anything because the son of a bitch had a straight flush."